Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unpack the hidden stories inside those dry corporate reports, and today we're diving into EVI Industries Incorporated's latest annual report, an amendment no less, so you know something interesting is being added or fixed. Get ready as we decode what this filing means for the company and its shareholders. Alright, let's get straight to it with EVI Industries Incorporated. This is an amendment to the annual report for the fiscal year that ended on the 30th of June 2025. Now, these amendments aren't usually for fun, they often mean they're adding in crucial details that were missed or needed to be clarified. EVI Industries Incorporated is the company we're looking at. You see them on the NYSE American Exchange under the ticker symbol EVI. They've got a commission file number here. 001-14,757. The company is incorporated in Delaware and their main executive offices are located in Miami, Florida. They're confirming they've been filing all their digital documents on time. That is good hygiene. They are also indicating they are both an accelerated filer and a smaller reporting company. This means they have to file rather frequently but also have some relaxed reporting requirements compared to the really big players. And importantly here, they are a test to management's assessment of their internal financial reporting controls, which means an outside auditor has signed off on it. That is another good sign. So what is this whole amendment about? It is really just a tack on the final pieces of information required in Part 3 of their annual report, specifically items 10 through 14. Think of it as adding the last few chapters to a book they already published. They are not updating past events, just adding missing pieces. Now, let's jump into what these missing pieces are. First up, we have item 10, which is all about the people running the show, the directors and executive officers. Here is a look at the top brass. Henry M. Narmad is the chairman, chief executive officer, and president, currently 46 years old. Then we have Tom Marks, executive vice president of business development and president of the West region at 66. Robert H. Lazar, the chief financial officer and chief accounting officer, is 61. And we have several directors: Dennis Mack, David Blyer, Glenn Kruger, Timothy P. Lamarkia, and Howlem Lucas. Let's look at Henry Narmad. He has been at the helm as CEO and chairman since 2015. Before EVI, he was CEO of Chemstar Corp. And also had a stint at Watsco Incorporated, a big distributor of HVAC products. The board clearly values his leadership and experience, especially in growth through acquisitions. That is a key strategy for many companies. Tom Marks joined in 2016 during the acquisition of Western State Design, and he has been instrumental in business development and leading their West region. He has been with Western State Design since way back in 1987, so he knows that business inside and out. Robert Lazar came on board as Chief Accounting Officer in early 2017, and by May of that year he was the Chief Financial Officer. Before EVI, he had a long career at Steiner Leisure Limited and started out at Arthur Andersen, one of the big accounting firms. He's clearly got a solid finance background. Dennis Mack is an interesting one. He was executive vice president after the Western State Design acquisition, but transitioned to a strategic advisor role in late 2023. He founded Western State Design back in 1974 and led it until 2020. His deep industry knowledge is invaluable. David Blyer is the longest serving director on the board since 1998. He's got a background in software, founding a couple of companies in that space, and even leading a division of SPSS, which is now part of IBM. His experience in developing sales and marketing strategies is a big plus. Glenn Kruger joined in late 2019 and currently works in investment banking, specifically in technology and mergers and acquisitions. His expertise in capital markets and M&A is a major asset for EVI. Timothy Lamarkia is a private investor and a former partner at Ernst & Young and Arthur Andersen. His finance and accounting expertise is particularly important for the audit committee. Hal Lucas is an attorney in private practice, a founding partner of his own law firm since 2011. He also serves as president and a director of a hemp and CBD producer. His legal and business insights are beneficial. Now, a quick note on compliance. The company says all its directors, executive officers, and major shareholders followed the rules for reporting their stock ownership and any changes to it during fiscal 2025. That's always good to hear. Moving on to item 11, the juicy part, executive compensation. This table shows what the top executives were paid. We're looking at Henry Narmad, Tom Marks, and Robert Lazar for the fiscal years 2025 and 2024. Let's break down the numbers for fiscal year 2025. Henry Narmad, the CEO, had a salary of $650,000, a bonus of $650,000, and stock awards valued at a hefty $3,999,997. His total compensation for that year was $5,350,835. This is a significant amount, mostly driven by stock awards. Compare that to 2024, where his total was $5,914,510, also heavily weighted by stock awards. Tom Marks, the EVP, earned $400,000 in salary and $300,000 in bonus for fiscal 2025. His stock awards were around $399,988, bringing his total to $1,110,338. In 2024, his total was slightly higher at $1,209,913. Robert Lazar, the CFO, had a salary of $300,000, a bonus of $60,000, and stock awards around $249,985 in fiscal 2025, for a total of $616,485. In 2024, his total was $600,363, showing a slight increase. These stock awards are essentially granted shares of company stock that vest over time. The reported value is the grant date fair value, which can be significantly higher than the eventual value if the stock price fluctuates. For Mr. Narmad's 2025 stock award alone, it is nearly $4 million. That is a massive incentive and a big chunk of his compensation. They also mentioned bonuses paid out in September 2025 after the fiscal year ended. Mr. Narmad received $850,000 in cash bonuses and a large restricted stock award. Mr. Marks and Mr. Laza also received bonuses here. These won't show up in the 2025 total, but will be reflected in next year's report. What is interesting here is that Mr. Narmad's salary is going up to $700,000 in September 2025. This table details the unvested stock awards as of the 30th of June 2025. For Mr. Narmad, the market value of his unvested shares totals over $6.7 million from one grant alone, and much more when you look at all his grants. This highlights the significant long-term incentive tied up in equity for the top executives. EVI doesn't have employment agreements with its top executives, which is a bit unusual for such high-level positions. They also don't have specific plans for retirement or severance payments beyond a 401k plan. However, the big kicker is that outstanding restricted stock awards and units accelerate and vest immediately in the event of death or disability of the award holder. This is a huge number. If a key executive were to leave due to death, disability, or a change in company control, nearly $33 million in equity awards could vest all at once. This is a substantial financial event they'd have to account for, and it shows how much of their compensation is tied to these long-term performance incentives and company stability. For the non-employee directors, compensation consists of an annual grant of $50,000 in restricted stock units which vest over 4 years, plus cash fees for board and committee service. For fiscal 2025, directors like Timothy Pilamakia, who also chairs the audit committee, received a total of $75,000. Other directors received around $60,000 to $65,000. This aligns director interests with shareholders by giving them equity. Now let's look at who actually owns the company. Item 12 covers this. As of the 17th of October 2025, Henry M. Narmad, the CEO, is listed as beneficially owning 5,481,114 shares, which is a whopping 38% of the company. This includes shares he owns directly and shares held by entities he manages like Symmetric Capital and Symmetric Capital II. He also has voting power over restricted stock awards that haven't vested yet. Dennis Mack, the director and strategic advisor, owns 1,022,495 shares, about 7.1%, and Tom Marks, the EVP, owns 1,036,685 shares, also around 7.2%. It's noteworthy that both Dennis Mack and Tom Marks have their addresses listed here. This suggests they might be quite hands on or have significant holdings tied to their roles. Collectively, all directors and executive officers own over 7.6 million shares, representing about 53.2% of the company. This is a very high percentage of insider ownership, which often signals strong alignment between management and shareholders. And if you include shares controlled through stockholder agreements tied to past acquisitions, the board and management collectively have voting power over approximately 56.2% of the company. That is significant control, giving them a lot of say in the company's direction. Item 13 is about relationships and transactions that might be considered related party dealings. They reiterate that because of the high insider ownership, EVI is considered a controlled company. This means the majority of the board is elected by this controlling group. Here they detail some lease agreements. It appears some subsidiaries lease office and warehouse space from entities linked to Dennis Mack, Tom Marks, and Peter Limoncelli, the president of Yankee Equipment Systems. For example, Western State Design leases space from an affiliate of Dennis Mack and Tom Marks. The rent for their current 3-year renewal term is $21,000 per month. totaling around $244,000 in fiscal 2025. These are typical related party transactions, but the amounts involved are relatively small compared to the company's overall scale. The board has determined that directors David Blyer, Glenn Kruger, Timothy P. Lamarkia, and Hal M. Lucas are independent based on nice American rules. This is important as it ensures a certain level of objective oversight. Finally, item 14 covers the fees paid to their auditor, BDO USA PC. For fiscal year 2025, the total fees paid to BDO were $1,533,203. This breaks down into $1,066,325 for audit fees and $466,878 for tax fees. The audit fees cover the main audits of their financial statements, quarterly reviews, and also the attestation on their internal controls. The tax fees are for tax preparation and advice. The company emphasizes that their audit committee pre-approves all services from their auditor. This is a standard good governance practice to ensure auditor independence. All services provided in fiscal 2025 and 2024 were indeed pre-approved. And that wraps up the main content of this amendment. The signatures at the end are from Henry M. Narmad, the Chairman, Chief Executive Officer and President, officially filing this document on behalf of EVI Industries Incorporated. Now, wrapping this all up, what is the story here? EVI Industries Incorporated is a company where management, particularly CEO Henry Narmad, has a very significant stake and therefore a strong alignment with shareholders. The high percentage of insider ownership, over 56% of voting power, means leadership has a lot of control, which can be good for executing a long-term vision, but also means minority shareholders have less sway. The compensation structure for executives, especially the heavy reliance on stock awards, really ties their fortunes to the company's stock performance. The potential for a large chunk of equity to vest rapidly in case of leadership changes or unforeseen events is a major financial contingency to watch. While the related party leases are noted, they appear to be manageable and not a significant drain on the company's resources. The auditor fees show they are investing in robust financial oversight. Overall, EVI seems to be navigating its path with a clear leadership structure and shareholder alignment. But the significant equity incentives also mean that investor sentiment and stock price performance will be incredibly important for both management and the company's financial health. Alright, that is our breakdown of EVI Industries Incorporated's latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description for connect with us and continue the conversation. Thanks for watching. See you next time.